Hi, Chris.
Hi, Rob.
Chris,
How are you?
how are you?
I'm really good. How's things, man?
As good as can be expected.
Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a week,
Week two.
long week.
Week two of not
Yep.
of not meeting up. Doing what are these called? Remote.
Yep,
Yeah,
doing our separate remotes here.
beautiful. There's something nice about it. Of course, happy birthday to you. And I know it was your birthday on Wednesday. Was it Thursday? Or was it Friday?
The other day, yeah.
Who knows?
Cheers.
Cheers. Tequila. Bottoms up. Are you drinking gin? You are drinking it.
Could be.
Yeah, I'm drinking wine. I'm drinking wine. White wine. Treasured.
White wine.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
So we're gonna try something new here.
Okay.
We're gonna do book reviews,
That's it.
and it's not necessarily a review as such. It's more just your feelings and everything on it, right?
Oh yeah, I love the feelings thing. Love the feelings thing.
So what book did you pick?
I picked Raise a Laugh by Richard Bellingham, 1996 by Scallo. I'm really sure of this stuff. But yeah, 1996, Richard Bellingham.
Was that the year he shot it? Yeah.
It's the year it came out. Yeah, so I think it was shot.
Oh, the year it came out.
Yeah, so I think it was shot a wee bit before that. Go ahead and tell me about yours first, Rob.
About mine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got this. This is Frank Ockenfels.
Beautiful.
It's his third volume of his personal diaries.
Very nice. We all like personal diaries.
Yeah, it's very sort of reminiscent of like a Peter Beard sort of diary. There's a lot of scribbling, a lot of Polaroids. It's a lot more simplistic, I'd say, though, in design. He uses a lot of Type 54, a lot of Polaroids, a lot of contact sheets, and then he writes over top of stuff. There's a real sort of Stedman sort of style to his drawings as well.
Lovely. You've thought this
Yeah.
through. You've thought the whole thing through.
Yeah, I love his work. I have a real problem with books myself, photography books. I can't really look at one cover to cover. What ends up happening is I just get too enthralled by whatever that specific photographer is doing. I much rather taking 10 or 20 pages at a time and getting inspiration from, smaller pieces of it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because if I, I don't know how many pages this is. It's quite a thick book. It's a good inch thick. It was £50 off of Amazon. I got it. I signed up early.
That's not weight, but of course that's the coinage.
Yep, 50 £50. Yeah.
Okay. What's that?
It's a good sized. It's probably 11 by 13 or so.
Nice black cover.
Yep. And yeah, I'd say I love his work. Everything's great. The printing is great inside. It's not, there's a lot of nudes and stuff, so you can't be a prude looking at his work.
Steady on.
What's that?
Steady on.
Yeah. The only thing, if there is one downer of it, it's the actual cover itself, the cover material. It's a heavy cardboard cover. It's not a proper. It might have something to do with he's had it embossed.
Would that mark easy?
I think it would, like any sort of dents or anything. If you put something heavy with a sharp edge on it, it's definitely going to dent. But other than that, it's a beautiful book, and yeah, it definitely gives me inspiration. I picked this up late in September or October of last year, and like I said, I only read maybe 5 to 10 pages of this particular book because there's a lot to look at. There's a lot of visual stimulus, and I literally just finished it a couple weeks ago.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I don't pick it up every day or every week or anything.
I know. No, I get you.
But yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, if you like alternative processes and
and we know
scratching
you do.
on film,
We know you do.
Yeah, now and then I like to do something different. It's great. I mean, David Lynch is on the cover, and
Oh,
he's scribbled over top of David
oh,
Lynch's
oh,
face. And,
that's it. That's telling, isn't it? That kind of gives you the feel straight away for what you're going to get,
yeah,
probably.
yeah.
Mm.
And there's little hints of some of his commercial work in here. You know, the odd Polaroid from a commercial shoot. He'll have that taped into his diary. But I don't have his other two. I'll definitely be getting them if there is another two.
How much are they?
No.
Do you hear that?
Well, this was £50.
Do you hear that noise upstairs?
What was that?
Leah probably throwing herself to the floor in anguish.
Oh dear.
Yeah, no. Oh dear.
Yeah, so I'll get the other two and make it a full set.
Mm. But you'll do this, of course, in 2021, whenever wine and food are less important in our lives.
Yes. Yeah.
Or whenever the accountant says we can do it.
I mean, it's if I'll put his Instagram links in the description below, but he's definitely worth following because there is some super creative stuff.
What's his
feel.
What's his Instagram doodah called?
I think it's FWO3.
Oh.
And then I think there's an FWO3 Journals.
FWO3.
But there's beautiful like ambient lit stuff and lots of long shutter speed, dragging the shutter sort of looks, blurs.
I've looked up the wrong one. You don't want to. No, I don't want to show that.
But anyhow, it's a beautiful book.
Yeah.
I'd give it an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10.
Rob, that's high. I'd say you'd be fussing with the old stuff.
Well, probably an 8 out of 10 then. I mean, if there's anything that's lacking, it might be a little bit of a storyline. Some of the images. At the end, he does give a brief title to each page. What's on each page?
Okay.
But it's not very descriptive. So some of them might be nice to have a little story behind. I mean, there's lots of David Bowie stuff in here.
Could you read it back? Could you read it backwards? Do you know what I mean? Could you open that? Could you go back to front, or could you start in the middle and just could you throw darts?
Oh yes,
at the page?
Oh definitely. There's definitely no starter, no end.
Okay.
No beginning and end to it.
This is nice.
It's just a true picture book.
Hmm.
Coffee table picture book.
Yeah, and 50 quid.
Yep.
$50, 50 quid.
£50 sterling.
You know what? I know in the current climate, that's 2 bottles of wine. It's how many?
What wine are you drinking?
Well, the only wine left in the supermarket, Rob, is 18-pound bottles of wine. So there's not much change out of that. But it's also how many noodles is that? That's quite a lot of noodles.
It's 50 noodles.
Jesus.
60 noodles.
we're really in the future now, aren't we? Where we're kind of Blade Runner. We're kind of into how much books will cost.
Bartering.
Buy noodles. Hold on, we've struck home. We've struck something here, Rob. We've struck something. If things continue the way they are for, let's say, longer than 6 months, you have potentially got a good few meals sitting in front of you with that book.
Only if I can find somebody to buy it.
Yeah, but there will be people.
It's only worth as much as somebody will give for it.
There'll be a civil servant who's getting well paid. There'll be public sector.
Postal worker.
Yeah, public sector people will fight you for that book on eBay. That'll keep them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Other than that, like I said, I recommend it. I give it a thumbs up.
Did I get too political there? A wee bit?
No.
No, okay. It's very hard to know, and I can't see your face. In fact, with our last one, what I loved was how the both of us were drifting off. I was drifting over towards my freezer, and whenever you were talking, and you were drifting over to the dog somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dogs are sleeping here at my feet.
You know what we need? I need a hologram of you, or a cardboard cutout, either very futuristic and high tech, or just a print. that I can look at.
That's just too creepy. Don't do that.
Rob, you're going to force me to do it next week. Well, I'm going to get Patrick to draw you in the best possible sense.
Oh boy.
The boy's right. I know what I'm doing, Rob. I'm holding a reflector onto my chin, right, and I've left myself in an awkward situation where my wine is almost too far away to reach comfortably.
And where's your book?
Were you showing the book as you were going along?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
no, I'm not going for the showing. No, I'm just going to chat about it, and then I'm going to get people to look at it, because my book isn't. You'll see, it's so embarrassing. Hold on a second. Don't put me off my stroke now, because every drop is sacred, as they say in some film. Right, my book is my favourite book of all time. Anybody that's done any Belfast?
Really?
Of all time. It'll be buried with me. That's in my will, actually. Is Richard Bellingham Rise to Laugh. Anybody that knows me from Belfast Exposed, I show it. And I'm very open. I tell them if they start in level 1, they'll still see it in level 4, and they'll see it every single week practically. I love it. It's just an excuse for me to indulge myself. It's just, it's the most intriguing piece of work I've ever seen. I can't say it's the most intriguing piece of work I'll ever see, but at the minute, it is the most intriguing piece of work I've ever seen.
I will say, I'm glad you told me it was 1996, because after looking at everything,
yeah, that makes sense.
I felt, it definitely feels better now that I know the year that it was produced.
Because you thought it was, and I say this a lot of people.
I felt it was more contemporary. I thought it was somewhere in the 2000s.
Yeah, well, what happened to that?
And by looking at that style, it sort of gave me, it just looked like a repetitive style. But knowing that it's 96, then it would be on the cusp of the early age of that style. It would have been something new.
Well, I always say to people whenever I'm showing it to them. Now, of course, I'm showing them 2 ways. I'm showing it. My reflector keeps dropping, by the way, so it's going to be a real hash. So, but it's fine. It's going to. All right. Yeah, it'll be as hashy as it is. You know that, like, it's all fine art, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Sure.
Yeah. So whenever I show it to people, I always say this to them, that they have to remember this work had never been seen. This type of work had never been seen before. This is why it works. It's a seminal piece of work, because it's fly on the wall, but it's not. If you looked at it from a Big Brother or one of those Love Island, if you come from that kind of perspective, it doesn't feel anything special. It seems to be a bit gratuitous and sort of unethical in places. But if you place it exactly where we are in 1996 or thereabouts, it becomes, it's post-Thatcher Britain. I'll read this to you, right? Because this is kind of how I start, how I see it in my head. Okay, and this is a piece. Now we know why I was bang on about ASX, American Suburb X. This is by Doug Rickard, July 2010. Be a bit of time travel, okay? And this is the best review. Okay, I won't read all of it, but I'll read a few lines that'll kind of get you in the sense of it. A long, long time ago, far, far away in a rainy king and queen filled land, in a colourful little knick-knack jigsaw puzzle cat hair filled grease streaked, filthy tiny fishbowl, baby Richie was born. And of course Richie is is Ray's brother. And it talks about Ray and his devoted, enormous big Liz Bellingham. Soon little baby brother Jason would come along and join the fun, and it goes on and on and on, and it's kind of just talks about, in a very lyrical sense, the grittiness of the whole thing, a feast to the eye. But it says here, I've said it before and I'll say it again, where can something so tragic be at once so aesthetically magnificent? Where can hopelessness, failure and darkness be propped up to enjoy so ferociously, only in art? You know what I mean? So what you have is, for the people, I've got a link. I'm not showing anything because I think that wouldn't do it justice. You have to go in and I think you're buying it. It's 900 quid or something for an original, maybe more.
How much?
Well, nine for a shitty copy, like a copy.
900?
Yeah, 900 quid for a copy you would probably walk past if you didn't know what it was. which is probably cheap, in fairness. Um, but of course, the story behind it is, it's set in the Black Country, so just West Birmingham direction, as far as I can gather. And Richard was Jason, was the brother. I said Richie was the brother, Jason was the brother. It was set, he was at the foundation, art college, doing painting, I think. This is the story I've drawn for myself. Actually, I'm going to send him an email because he teaches now in Gloucester somewhere, as in art. But he went and taken the photographs kind of with the cheapest film, and got them processed at the cheapest place they could find to give it that kind of hard look. It's hard flash. You've looked at it. It's uncomfortable view. His dad's a chronic alcoholic. His mum doesn't drink, but she smokes like a train. In fact, tonight I'm going to watch Ray and Liz, which is the film which Richard has done. And it's just, the film's incredible.
Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, the film's incredible. The film. There are those that say it's not. Well, the book's different because the book is, it's exactly where he was at that time, and I suppose that the film is a revisited thing, so it's slightly different in a sense. Acting's tremendous. The whole thing is just, it's still as brutal, it's still as depressing in a sense. But they're just the Wet's film's stunning. It's exactly how you would imagine. Now, I remember a few years ago whenever it was crowdfunding for it, that there was loads chat going about it. And it's, in my head, because it was my favourite book, I was imagining how it would be filmed and how it could go very badly wrong. And it's bang on the money. It's bang on the money. But the book, and this is the thing that confuses me with the book, is you have these images, and whenever I'm showing it to people who are, learning about photography, and learning in a technical sense at the very beginning, and I show it to them, there's a famous photograph of this cat's flying through the air, and and the dad's lying there kind of looking at in the studio.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah. Everybody laughs. There's a big roar of laughter in the thing, and then the laughter fades away, and but it's the only sense of joy in the whole thing. Everyone else is mesmerised by it, and people say they hate it. Some people say they get it. Some people say it's not so far from life that they knew. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's this kind of a sort of effect. But anyway, what we have is as I go through Belfast Exposed, and people get to know the fine art side of things a bit better. By stage 3 and stage 4, nobody laughs at that photograph. And I always say this thing, if you come back and do the other courses, you'll see how this book changes. And that's kind of my gauge for where they were with regards to their fine art head, in a sense. They didn't find that cat flying through the air funny anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They started looking at it. And the thing is, with that book, you could look at it for 100 years and never really get a sense. You're looking at, as you were saying about your book, you can pick it up. The tones and colours are all the same, the knickknacks and stuff, but there's always something. Whether it's a fucking spider on the wall, pardon me French, or whatever it is. In the film, there's a beautiful scene in the film at the very beginning where there's a cockroach, a steam fly on a light, and it kind of just sets the tone. And you're looking up at it, it's the angle, the light, everything. So anyway, there it is. But the interesting bit for me is, whenever I'm showing to people, is there's images in it that don't sit with the rest of the book. And that's the, that there's a picture of a bird. There's a picture, there's nature, which are taken in the same style and the same.
Mm-hmm.
But they sit outside of the book itself. Now, I don't know what the intention was with regards to Richard doing that. For me, whenever I'm looking at it, this is what we're talking about, my feelings and our feelings, is whenever I'm turning over and I hit that bird, I sit on it for ages and ages and ages, because the next turn of a page, you don't know what you're going to get. You know what I mean? And even if you look at the book 100 times and you know what you're getting, you still sit on that longer than you do the other photographs. It's kind of it's for me. Yeah, it's just a pause, a full stop. You're just sitting there, deep breath, and then we go again. And you're kind of hoping for another one of those points. But
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and you stop.
Helps you with your pacing.
It helps you with their pace. Now, whether that is, I've read a fair bit about it, and I find the book really emotional because I think it's not so far from where, not where I grew up with my parents, but whenever I was doing squatting and stuff, there was elements of that kind of that uneasy life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll give a link to a beautiful piece written by The Guardian. I can't remember who wrote it in 2016. I have lots of cuttings from this, but definitely The Guardian and the American Suburb X, they give a really nice joint view of the whole thing, because what you get is this kind of, the American Suburb X is definitely, it's kind of a poem in a sense. The Guardian gives you a kind of full beat out history about where he came from, how it all came about. The Dorst Prize that he went for is at Dorst. I can't remember. I'm really bad at these as you probably gathered. There were 4 videos in. It was called the Citibank something or other prize, which is the forerunner to.
Okay.
Anyway, he was up for that. It was 2001, I think. He was up for the Turner Prize. He was nominated for the Turner Prize for it. So that's the kind of the way of the thing. And anywhere I read, it says it is one of the. It's seminal. The book is seminal for me. Yeah.
Great.
Jeez, I went off there, didn't I? Plus, whenever you look at the one I sent you had The Cure in the background, didn't it? There was a tune in the background.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, just the combination of that's just wicked. It just works. I don't know who else would have on it. Maybe Stone Roses. Never going too far anyway. Smiths. Girlfriend in a Coke, maybe. I'll have to play with Spotify tonight. See what the crack is. But the thing is, you know what, Rob, there's 2 ways of doing this. Either go and get the book, and actually it's an interesting book because we talk about layout and stuff. I never think of the layout or design of it. You talked about layout and it was like, Christ, I haven't even thought about that. Full bleed pages.
It's full bleed, right?
It's full bleed, yeah. It's kind of, it doesn't fuck about with that. It's like, it's pretty unpretentious, and it's just there. It's just been set down, it's been worked out, and it's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. £900. It's a steal, is it not? I think so.
Yeah. Don't get the first edition. Get the reprint.
Hold on. Let me think of that in noodles. I'm going to send him an email.
That's a hell of a lot. That's about 5 years worth of noodles right there.
He could buy Belfast's noodle shop.
Yeah.
I'm going to send him an email tonight. I'm going to do it whenever I'm drunk. Another glass of this and I'll be heady. I'll send him an email expressing my love, but also stating how much noodles he can buy me. Okay.
Well, that's great, Chris. Should we do another one of these next week?
100%. I have so many good books that I can talk about. Next
I have
week,
a couple.
Yeah, well, next week I'll maybe... Here, I'll talk about next week. No Boulder, Union. There you go. A few years old. Beautiful book.
Cool.
Now I've got a copy of that. I should do books that I want copies of, shouldn't I? Like the Shackleton Coat. I don't even back the Shackleton Coat. But if I talk about books here, maybe if I send this to...
Somebody might send you one to review.
Richard might send me a review. Because it's going to be in the coffin. Or maybe in the crematorium. I don't want to be down about the whole thing. I would hate to burn it. But it's going to be buried. I've thought about the slots, by the way. Right, darling.
All right. We'll talk to you later, Chris. Thanks again.
Stay safe.
All right. Bye.